Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ? Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! !
The arrest of Tyler James Robinson in connection with the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk has unveiled a chilling trail of digital evidence and disturbing personal inscriptions that paint a picture of a calculated and politically motivated attack. Court documents released following Robinson's arrest reveal shocking details about his communications in the aftermath of the shooting and the bizarre messages he engraved on bullet casings found at the scene. The breakthrough in the Charlie Kirk assassination case came not through traditional detective work alone, but through a combination of family intervention and digital evidence that Robinson himself created. A family member contacted authorities saying Robinson had suggested he shot Charlie Kirk, setting in motion the events that would lead to his capture just over 30 hours after the shooting. But it was Robinson's own digital communications that provided some of the most damning evidence against him. According to court documents, Robinson's roommate became a crucial witness when investigators asked to see Discord messages between the two. The roommate cooperated fully, opening the messaging platform and allowing investigators to photograph the conversations that would become key evidence in the case. The Discord messages revealed discussions about a need to retrieve a rifle from a pickup point, leaving the rifle in a bush, watching the area where a rifle was left and having wrapped the rifle in a towel. These messages, sent after the shooting, showed Robinson coordinating the recovery of what investigators believe was the murder weapon. The level of detail in these communications suggests Robinson was not acting entirely alone in the aftermath, though it remains unclear whether his roommate or others had prior knowledge of his plans. The messages also referenced engraving bullets, and mentioned a scope and the rifle being unique, details that would prove prophetic when investigators recovered the actual weapon. Perhaps the most shocking revelation in the court documents concerns the personal messages Robinson engraved on the bullet casings found with the rifle. These inscriptions provide a disturbing window into the mind of the alleged shooter and suggest a level of premeditation that goes far beyond a spontaneous act of violence. The bullet casings contain these chilling inscriptions, "Hey fascist! Catch!" and "Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao," and "If you read this, you are gay LMAO. The mix of political messaging and internet culture references reveals a complex motivation that investigators are still working to fully understand. Officials noted the engravings referenced meme culture and anti-fascism, suggesting Robinson was influenced by online political movements and internet subcultures. The reference to Bella Ciao, an Italian anti-fascist resistance song that has become popular in modern protest movements, indicates Robinson may have viewed his actions through the lens of political resistance. The casual, almost joking nature of some inscriptions, particularly the "If you read this, you are gay LMAO" message, demonstrates a disturbing disconnect between the gravity of his alleged actions and his apparent mindset. This combination of serious political messaging with internet humor suggests someone deeply embedded in online political culture who may have lost perspective on the real-world consequences of violence. The weapon recovered was described as an older model imported Mauser .30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel, indicating Robinson had planned this attack with some forethought. The choice of weapon, a bolt-action rifle with a scope, suggests he intended to take the shot from a distance, which aligns with surveillance footage showing him positioning himself on a rooftop overlooking the event. The fact that Robinson took the time to engrave multiple bullet casings shows this was not a crime of passion but a premeditated act that he had been planning for some time. The engravings themselves would have taken considerable time and effort, suggesting Robinson was preparing for this moment well in advance of September 10th. Court documents reveal that Robinson had been more political in recent years, according to family members, and had specifically mentioned Charlie Kirk's upcoming visit to Utah Valley University during a family dinner. Family members reported that Robinson and others discussed why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had, with Robinson reportedly calling Kirk full of hate and spreading hate. Robinson is expected to be charged with aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice. The aggravated murder charge is particularly significant, as it elevates this case to capital felony status under Utah law, potentially making Robinson eligible for the death penalty. The enhancement to aggravated murder likely stems from several factors revealed in the court documents. First, the shooting took place in a crowded public space with hundreds of potential victims nearby, creating an inherently dangerous situation that put multiple lives at risk. Second, the apparent political motivation behind the attack could qualify it as an act of terrorism under certain legal definitions. The obstruction of justice charge relates to Robinson's attempts to hide evidence after the shooting, including his coordination with his roommate to retrieve and conceal the murder weapon. His flight from the scene and attempts to avoid capture also contribute to this charge. The speed with which investigators were able to identify and arrest Robinson demonstrates the power of modern surveillance technology and digital forensics. Surveillance cameras tracked Robinson's movements across the Utah Valley University campus for hours before the shooting, documenting his arrival, his reconnaissance of the area, and his eventual positioning on the rooftop. But it was Robinson's own digital communications that ultimately sealed his fate. His Discord messages created a documented trail of his post-shooting activities, while his family's willingness to come forward prevented what could have become a lengthy manhunt. The cooperation of Robinson's roommate proved crucial to the investigation. By voluntarily showing investigators the Discord messages and allowing them to photograph the conversations, the roommate provided key evidence that corroborated other aspects of the case and helped establish Robinson's guilt. The Charlie Kirk assassination represents another tragic escalation in political violence that has plagued American discourse in recent years. The fact that Robinson apparently planned and executed this attack based on ideological disagreements raises serious questions about the state of political discourse in America and the role that online radicalization may play in motivating real-world violence. The bizarre nature of Robinson's bullet engravings, mixing serious anti-fascist messaging with internet memes, reflects the strange intersection of online culture and political extremism that law enforcement agencies are increasingly having to navigate. This case may serve as a watershed moment in understanding how internet culture can contribute to political violence. As this case moves through the legal system, many questions remain unanswered. Investigators will likely continue examining Robinson's digital footprint, looking for additional evidence of planning and any potential co-conspirators. The role of online radicalization in motivating his actions will undoubtedly be scrutinized by both prosecutors and defense attorneys. The tragic death of Charlie Kirk serves as a stark reminder that political disagreements, no matter how passionately held, should never escalate to violence. As Americans continue to grapple with deep political divisions, the hope is that this case will serve as a cautionary tale about the deadly consequences of allowing political rhetoric to cross the line into violent action. For now, Tyler James Robinson remains in custody without bail, awaiting formal charges that could determine whether he faces life in prison or the death penalty for his alleged crimes. The shocking evidence revealed in court documents, from his calculated Discord messages to his disturbing bullet engravings, suggests a defendant who not only planned this attack carefully but took a perverse pride in his actions. The court documents provide an hour-by-hour breakdown of Robinson's movements on the day of the shooting, revealing a methodical approach that began hours before Charlie Kirk even took the stage. At approximately 8:29 a.m., surveillance cameras captured Robinson arriving at Utah Valley University in a gray Dodge Challenger, wearing casual clothes, a plain maroon shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with white logo, and light-colored shoes. What's particularly chilling about this timeline is the deliberate nature of Robinson's preparations. He had clearly scouted the location in advance, knew exactly where Kirk would be speaking, and had planned his route to the rooftop of the Loci Center building. The fact that he arrived so early in the day suggests this was not a spontaneous decision but a carefully orchestrated plan. By 11:50 a.m., cameras first captured Robinson walking across a grassy area north of Campus Drive, now dressed in the dark clothing that would help him blend into the shadows. His distinctive limp, caused by the rifle concealed in his pants, became a key identifying feature that investigators would later use to track his movements across multiple surveillance systems. The surveillance footage shows Robinson pausing at various points, appearing to check his phone and survey the area. At 11:53 a.m., he was seen pulling out what appeared to be a cell phone, possibly coordinating final details or simply steeling himself for what was to come. This pause in his movements suggests a moment of deliberation, perhaps his last opportunity to reconsider his planned course of action. Robinson's choice of the Loci Center building as his shooting position demonstrates tactical thinking that goes beyond amateur planning. The rooftop provided an elevated view of the courtyard where Kirk would be speaking, while also offering multiple escape routes. Court documents reveal that Robinson entered the building through doors on the southeast corner at approximately 12:15 p.m., just 8 minutes before the shooting. The building's layout worked perfectly for Robinson's plan. He was able to access stairs leading to a common area adjacent to the rooftop, then climb over a short concrete wall to reach his final position. The surveillance shows him crouching down on the north side of the wall, likely assembling his rifle and preparing for the shot. What makes this positioning particularly calculated is the timing. Robinson waited until 12:22 p.m. to move into his prone shooting position, suggesting he was monitoring Kirk's speech and waiting for the optimal moment. The fact that his earlier limp disappeared once he reached the rooftop, because he could now carry the rifle openly rather than concealed, allowed him to move with much greater speed and precision. Immediately after the shooting at 12:23 p.m., surveillance captured Robinson's desperate flight from the scene. He stood up suddenly from his shooting position and sprinted north across the rooftop, demonstrating the kind of adrenaline-fueled panic that often follows violent crimes. His decision to leave the rifle wrapped in a towel in a bush would prove to be a critical mistake that provided investigators with crucial evidence. Robinson's escape route took him north across Campus Drive Road into a grassy area with trees at the edge of the campus. This suggests he had planned his exit strategy as carefully as his approach, knowing exactly where he could disappear from campus surveillance. However, his digital communications in the hours following the shooting would ultimately prove to be his downfall. The Discord messages Robinson sent to his roommate reveal a mind struggling to process what he had just done while still trying to cover his tracks. His instructions about retrieving the rifle from a drop point, and his mention of having wrapped the rifle in a towel, show someone who understood the need to dispose of evidence but was making critical errors in his execution. The court documents provide disturbing insights into Robinson's family dynamics and the process of his political radicalization. Family members described him as having become more political in recent years, a transformation that apparently accelerated in the months leading up to the shooting. The dinner conversation mentioned in the affidavit, where Robinson specifically brought up Charlie Kirk's upcoming visit to UVU, reveals how his political obsessions had begun to dominate his personal relationships. The fact that he engaged family members in discussions about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had, suggests Robinson was seeking validation for his growing extremist views. This family conversation takes on even more sinister meaning in retrospect. Robinson wasn't just venting political frustrations, he was potentially testing the waters to see how his family would react to violence against Kirk. The family member's description of Kirk as being full of hate and spreading hate may have provided Robinson with the justification he needed to move forward with his plan. The speed with which Robinson's family came forward after seeing his photos suggests they had harbored concerns about his mental state and political extremism. Their decision to contact authorities likely prevented additional violence and saved lives, even as it condemned their own family member. Robinson faces the most serious charges in Utah's legal system. He is expected to be charged with aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice. The aggravated murder charge elevates this to capital felony status, potentially making Robinson eligible for the death penalty. The enhancement to aggravated murder likely stems from the shooting occurring in a crowded public space with hundreds of potential victims nearby, creating an inherently dangerous situation. The apparent political motivation could also qualify this as an act of terrorism under certain legal definitions. Robinson is currently being held without bail, with court documents noting he has no prior criminal history. His age, 22 at the time of the crime, and lack of previous convictions could serve as mitigating factors, though the premeditated nature of the attack and his attempts to cover up evidence work against him. This assassination represents another tragic escalation in political violence that has plagued American discourse. The fact that Robinson planned and executed this attack based on ideological disagreements raises serious questions about the state of political discourse and the role of online radicalization in motivating real-world violence. The bizarre nature of Robinson's bullet engravings, mixing anti-fascist messaging with internet memes, reflects the dangerous intersection of online culture and political extremism. This case may serve as a crucial example of how digital radicalization can lead to deadly real-world consequences. The investigation continues, but the evidence already revealed paints a picture of a young man who allowed political extremism and online culture to drive him to commit one of the most shocking political assassinations in recent American history. As the case moves through the legal system, it will likely serve as a crucial test case for how American justice deals with the intersection of digital radicalization and real-world political violence.